In this lesson we are looking at plant and animal cells. Specifically, we're going to look at eukaryotic cells, so they're cells with a true nucleus, and we're going to identify those key organelles. So looking at the nucleus, cell membrane, mitochondria and ribosomes. We're going to compare and contrast, so key GCSE skill, plant and animal cells. Finally, we're going to look at some of the calculations involved with magnification and cell size. Here is an overview of two eukaryotic cells. On the left we have the animal cell, and on the right the plant cell. Both these cells share the organelles here listed in blue. The ones in red, which we're going to discuss, are unique to plant cells. Mitochondria are common to both plant and animal cells, and the mitochondria is where aerobic respiration happens. This is the process of taking in sugar or glucose and oxygen and making usable energy and releasing carbon dioxide. Ribosomes are a really important organelle in both plant and animal cells, and they make protein. The words associated with this are protein synthesis, and remember, synthesis is that scientific word meaning to make, so where protein is made. The nucleus holds the genetic information, so long chains of DNA are held within the nucleus, and these form chromosomes. That is genetic information, and both plant and animal cells have that. The cytoplasm is the empty space, or often shown as empty space, around the cell. It's not really empty space, but it's where reactions happen, so it's full of enzymes and things can move in and out of the cytoplasm to support these reactions taking place. The cell membrane, again, is another organelle common to both plant and animal cells, and it's the organelle that controls what moves in and out of the cell, as well as giving the cell some structure and support. These ones in red are unique to plant cells. So firstly, the chloroplast. The chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. So this is making sugar through using light. Photosynthesis is really important, but only happens within plant cells within the organelle called the chloroplasts. The vacuole is this large contained lump in the middle of the cell. That contains sap, and that's an energy store that the plant can use at a later time. And finally, the cell wall. Around the outside of plant cells is a thick cellulose, which is the material it's made of, cell wall. This holds the cell strong, protects it, as well as giving an overall support to the cell. This is a technique that is vital for many of the exams. It is estimating the size of an individual cell when given the microscope's field of view. So, for example, in this one, the question says a microscope has a field of view of 50 micros. So this sign here, remember, means micrometers. So from here, across the cell to here, that's saying that is 50 micrometers. And the question is estimate the width of a single cell. So you know this whole field of view is 50. You need to count the cells that make up that field of view. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here's an estimate, so it's not a completely 100% accurate one. You've got 5 cells across. You've got a total field of view of 50 micrometers. That means one cell must take up 10 micrometers. 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, total of 50 micrometers across, or 10 micrometers for the width of each cell. Quite often questions lead on from that and will want you to calculate one of the following things: either the image size, so how big the picture you see is, the actual size of the cell, or the magnification. And this again fits really nicely into a triangle. So at the top of the triangle you've got image size, and at the bottom you've got actual size and magnification. So the question, that it may look something like this. As established, the cells are approximately 10 micrometers in width. The image appears, so it's looking image appearing, that must be talking about image size. It appears 15 millimeters in width. What is the magnification? So you have these two numbers. You've got the actual size, 10 micrometers, and the image size of 15 millimeters. Notice different units. Really important that you don't try and do this calculation using different units. So step 1, convert them into the same unit. I'll go micrometers, so change the mils into micro. And remember, to do that, we're essentially timesing by 1,000 because there's 1,000 micrometers in 1 millimeter. Then draw out the triangle. Don't be afraid on your exam paper in the margin or just beneath the question to draw out a triangle and start substituting numbers into it. Don't risk any easy mistakes by being complacent about it. So draw out a triangle, substitute the numbers in. And step 3 is use a calculator. Even if it looks like a really simple sum, do it on a calculator, double check it, make sure it looks like a realistic number. Step 1, convert the millimeters, so the image size, which we know is 15 millimeters, into micrometers. And don't forget that 1 millimeter is 1,000 micrometers. So if we've got 15 millimeters, that's the equivalent to 15,000 micrometers. That number is the image size. That goes at the top. Now we know the actual cell is around 10 micrometers in width. So the actual size of the cell, 10 micrometers, goes on the bottom. If a number is over another number, that means divide. So you're dividing these numbers. So you're taking 15,000 micrometers, dividing it by 10 micrometers. This will give you a number, big number, 1,500 times magnification. So the answer to the question is 1,500 times magnification. To finish up, we're going to have a quick look at an exam-style question. Describe the function of the chloroplasts in a leaf palisade cell. That's worth 3 marks. Now, this question is quite a good one to talk about because it throws in a new term, and that is a palisade cell. Now, a palisade cell is just the top part of a leaf, so it's where a leaf is most exposed to the sun. So it makes sense if chloroplasts are needed for photosynthesis and sun is the source of photosynthesis, that's going to be at the top of the cell. So palisade cells are at the top and they have a lot of chloroplasts in. But that doesn't matter. To answer this question, you don't need to worry about that. All you need to do to get at least 2 out of the 3 marks is describe the function of chloroplasts. So first point would come from saying the chloroplast is an organelle unique to plant cells that is responsible for photosynthesis. That will get you 1, possibly 2 marks. Let's call it 1 to start off with. The second mark is going to come from discussing a little bit about what photosynthesis is. So you'll be able to say that photosynthesis is the process of converting water and carbon dioxide with sunlight into sugar and oxygen. That'll pick up the second mark. You may have already picked up 3 marks depending on the mark scheme. And the final one is looking at relating it back to the palisade cell. There will be many chloroplasts in the palisade cell because they are at the top of the leaf and most exposed to sunlight. That'll pick you up all 3 marks. But don't forget, even if you don't know what something means, so a small part of the question, like the palisade cell, you don't know what that means, answer the part you do know about the chloroplasts. At this point, it is time to test your understanding. Pause the video and answer these 10 questions. I will post the answers in the comment box.